With the upcoming release of Black Panther Wakanda Forever and what is guaranteed to be the introduction of Shuri as the new Black Panther, I thought that I'd cover the story that is likely the inspiration for this film from Marvel Comics. First off, the backdrop to this story is quite different from what we see going on in the background of the MCU. This story takes place during Dark Reign. For those who don't know what that is, Dark Reign wasn't really a crossover event so much as it was a publishing initiative that took place over a year or so, which saw Norman Osborn the Green Goblin as the head of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s replacement organization, Hammer. This of course follows the events of Secret Invasion, which saw the Skrull Empire invade the Earth. Not strictly in an all-out invasion, but by posing as several heroes, even utilizing their powers. During the final battle, Norman Osborn killed the Skrull Queen, gaining him fame as well as the backing of the US government to become the country's new top cop after Tony Stark was ousted as director of S.H.I.E.L.D. for his botched handling of the invasion. While he did utilize legal channels to gain power as the de facto head of national security, which included creating his own Dark Avengers team, he also sought to consolidate power behind closed doors, creating a group known as the Cabal, made up of himself, Namor, King of Atlantis, Doctor Doom, leader of Latveria, Emma Frost, telepath and representative of mutant kind, Loki of Asgard, and the Hood, a magic-based criminal. The beginning of this Black Panther story sees T'Challa meeting with Namor, the two being allies, and Namor requesting that Black Panther joins Osborn's Cabal. As though it is currently made up of mainly villains, Namor doesn't see the leadership lasting too long, and believes that with T'Challa's help, cooler heads can prevail when all is said and done. But T'Challa rejects the offer, considering it not to be in Wakanda's best interests. Though they leave the meeting on good terms, once he walks outside, Doctor Doom is waiting for him, knowing that T'Challa isn't going to join the Alliance. The Dora Milaje are able to get T'Challa to their aircraft, though one of them sacrifices her life to hold off Doom. Though their ship is damaged, it makes it back to Wakanda on autopilot. The remaining Dora Milaje is dead, and T'Challa is in critical condition. Shuri's mother, the former queen, and several advisors tell Storm, the current queen, as at this point in Marvel, she and T'Challa had recently married, making Storm the Queen Regent. Given the unpredictability of T'Challa surviving his ordeal, Storm's advisors urge her to choose a new Black Panther, and without hesitation, she chooses Shuri. Now, while T'Challa isn't dead, he is in a state of limbo. There he sees the dead member of the Dora Milaje who saved his life and his dead father. Their spirits are trying to convince him to pass on, but T'Challa sees through them and realizes that this is the spirit of the dead. I'm not sure if Wakanda culture has its own version of the Grim Reaper, but it seems like that's what this is. T'Challa's sister Shuri is facing her own battle, as she is going through the trial of the Black Panther, which starts out with her climbing a cliff face, which she finds easy, after which she has to take one of the heart-shaped herbs from the plants which are surrounded by 20 or so panthers, a challenge she also completes with relative ease. Though she understands the spiritual importance of these trials, she doesn't take them seriously from a physical standpoint, because she has been training for this since childhood. It's important to note here the difference between Shuri from the comics and the MCU. MCU Shuri, despite growing up in the same culture as T'Challa, her upbringing seems quite different. Where he was trained to be a warrior, she seems to have had more of a sheltered upbringing, focused more on scientific pursuits, somewhat contrasted to T'Challa, who is a great warrior but seems to leave the scientific acumen to his sister. In the comics, T'Challa and Shuri were brought up the same. They were both trained in the sciences and as warriors. Granted, there hadn't been a female Black Panther or Queen up until that point. The point is that while exceptionally intelligent, Shuri is also a warrior born in the comics, while the MCU version seems more like a scrawny wimp. Of course, Shuri's arrogance over her skills comes to bite her in the ass. The last phase of her trial is to ingest the heart-shaped herb and face the Panther God, who will judge her worthy or unworthy of becoming the Black Panther. When she does, the Panther God deems her unworthy. She came to him not out of a sense of duty or to use the power to protect people, but for personal glory, born out of jealousy due to her brother being chosen as Black Panther. More or less, she fails because of her sense of entitlement. The Panther God sends her back, knowing she will never be worthy. When she wakes up, her advisors believe she gained the power of the Panther simply because those deemed not worthy are typically killed. And this point will come up again in a little bit. Meanwhile, Storm and the Queen Mother had sought the aid of Zawahiri, who seems to be a Wakandan witch doctor. He's an outcast in Wakandan society and has been disavowed by T'Challa due to his adherence to the old ways of magic and superstition. But Storm and the Queen Mother seek his aid in retrieving the soul of T'Challa from limbo, and he can do so. Still, for a price. He uses magic to send Storm's spirit into limbo. While she is able to save T'Challa, she reveals to him that the price is her own soul, a soul for a soul. T'Challa, being a noble warrior and unwilling to give up the soul of the woman he loves, stands against the Grim Reaper-like figure, and he and Storm battle his armies of the dead. While all these spiritual trials had been taking place, a being named Morlan was summoned in some remote part of Africa. I'm not going to do a deep dive on Morlan. He's from a tribe of people from an alternate reality who travel the multiverse feeding on totems. Totems are people who derive powers or share a link to a certain animal. So Peter Parker is a spider totem, T'Challa is the panther totem, and so on. This tribe is called the Inheritors, and they are ridiculously powerful. It's been a while since I read comics from this period, so I can't remember if Morlan being summoned to go after T'Challa was premeditated, like if it somehow fits in with Dr. Doom's attempted killing of Black Panther. Still, this story is focused on Shuri. On his way to Wakanda, Morlan wipes out the gorilla tribe and feeds on the soul of M'Baku, their king, leading to several refugees from the area trying to flood into Wakanda. The Wakandan military, led by T'Challa's uncle, Sion, mustered all the might he could against Morlan, even firing vibranium-tipped nuclear shells at him, but nothing works. As I said, the Inheritors are incredibly powerful. Despite not being worthy as Black Panther, Shuri dons the garb and goes to face Morlan, knowing she will likely die, though to lead him to Zawavari's hut. Due to her skill and cunning, Shuri is successful, and Zawavari uses the same spell on Morlan that he had on Storm, this time trading the life of Morlan for that of both Storm and T'Challa. This plan had only worked because Morlan had sensed the Panther spirit in Shuri and decided to go after her instead of stealing the soul of her brother, who was held in the Royal Medical Bay. Zawavari had realized from the start that because the Panther God had let Shuri live, even though she did fail her first trial, her fight against Morlan, knowing she would need to sacrifice herself, would end up being her second trial, and with her victory, she became the Black Panther. Upon becoming the new Black Panther and leader of Wakanda, Shuri addresses her nation for the first time, memorializing those who died during Morlan's attack. Still, she assures her people that despite the doubt that has been sown, she and the Wakandan people will remain strong. Shuri goes to the United States as part of an international tour to meet with foreign leaders. While on the road, her vehicle is attacked by a group of mercenaries. Although she can handle them quickly, they engage in a protocol that atomizes their bodies, leaving no trace of their identities. But her tech team managed to scan some of the technology that they used. It's a combination of Stark tech, vibranium, and Atlantean technology. Her team manages to discover some leads, like superhuman tech being sold on the black market, Namor the Submariner being the potential seller of the technology, and a faction of Wakandans known as the Desturi, who seem to be working to unseat Shuri and reclaim Wakanda. Unfortunately, the former Wakandans blow themselves up before revealing further information about the group and who's leading it. All of this activity is being watched by a covert organization interested in restoring Wakanda to its former glory. In the background of this story arc, growing unrest has taken place among the people of Wakanda. Not just because of Shuri becoming queen, but because she has been away instead of leading her people in a time where nobody knows what actually happened to T'Challa that took him out of action. Literally nobody but himself knows that Dr. Doom attacked him. Not his mother or sister, not his wife, and not the Wakandan people, who are also dealing with the recent economic downturn, which ties into the financial state of the real world at the time, this story having been written around 2009 during the US recession. Continuing her investigation, Shuri meets with Namor to discover why he's selling technology to the mercenary group. In preparation for that meeting, and anticipating a fight, her team builds her a stronger, more tech-based Panther suit that will hopefully last longer against Namor. Of course, the conversation between the two lasts less than a minute, though it's actually Shuri that throws the first punch. She's able to briefly gain the upper hand when she uses technology that absorbs the moisture in Namor's body. Still, she gives up this advantage when she allows him to jump into the water, replenishing his strength. She gets absolutely thrashed after this when suddenly Reed Richards, the Thing, and the Human Torch of the Fantastic Four show up to reveal that Namor had been framed by a guy called the Broker. The Broker isn't that famous of a villain. He got his name after Civil War as he was the former head of Damage Control, a company that cleared up after superhero villain fights and confiscated illegal technology. The Broker had been selling this technology on the black market and the drug mutant growth hormone to the villain Nitro, who used it and with his powers amplified, blew up a school full of children, kicking off Civil War. In this case, the Broker sends a group of villains that he scooped up to keep Shuri and the Fantastic Four busy, while the group known as the Desturi enact a coup and take over Wakanda. All of this has been orchestrated by Dr. Doom. He got T'Challa out of the way, tried to have Shuri assassinated and framed Namor for it. He's been helping cause the deteriorating economic situation in Wakanda by artificially killing crops, and he controls both the Broker and the Desturi. He did all of this so that he could gain access to Wakanda. This is the story that leads into Doom War, which I will cover another time. This video was meant to cover the beginning of Shuri's time as Black Panther. I recommend you read this story. It has a lot of fun action with elements of political thriller, and I really enjoyed reading it. Even though I'm reasonably sure that the director of Black Panther 2 said that Doctor Doom wouldn't be appearing in the film because they didn't want to detract from honoring the memory of Chadwick Boseman, as well as introducing Namor, which correct me if I'm wrong on that in the comment section, but I would love to see Doom in the film. If Black Panther 2 follows this story beat for beat, then the movie will be fantastic. Tell me what you thought about the story in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Also hit that notification bell so you never miss out on a new video. I'll see you all next time. Bye.